use this outstanding presentation. So if you can just acknowledge that you don't mind it being recorded, that would be great. Once Erica is done with her presentation, I will come back in to make sure that we have some closing remarks, and so that you will know how you will be able to claim your CEUs and everything that's wonderful and good. So again, thank you all for being with us today. Erica, I am going to turn it over to you. Erica Hayes, everyone.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for giving me a time of your day to go over this with you, and hopefully you find this beneficial and take some things back with you to help you execute some of your future goals. So today we're going to be overviewing Don't Blow Your WIG. WIG stands for Wildly Important Goals, and a couple foolproof methods of how you can organize your goals to execute them efficiently. So just to get us started off and tell you a little bit about myself, I am a graduate of Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. I graduated with a BS in Health Informatics and Information Management, a minor in Computer Information Systems, and I later went on to get my MBA from WGU. I also hold my RHIA and currently running for that Six Sigma, PMP, and CHPS. I am currently a Health Information Management Director and Facility Privacy Official. I have also previously been a Document Imaging Scanning Manager, a Manager Trainee. I've also worked with a consultant company to scrub some EHRs and kind of touch on a couple areas in the HIM world. So now that you guys know a little bit about me, let's get into what is our agenda for today. So we're going to go overview what is WIGs and what elements help us to achieve our WIGs, which include organizational management, a couple time management tips, overviewing smarter goals, productivity applications, productivity tips and tricks. And as we know, whenever we have a lot of goals on our plates or just new ones or projects, things can add up, can become overwhelming, and some tips and tricks on how to mitigate those will be found into this presentation in the later part. So again, what is WIGs? WIGs, that acronym stands for Wildly Important Goals. And WIGs actually comes from a very famous book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution. The 4 Disciplines of Execution really go over all elements that will help you gain the skills and skill sets that you need to help you achieve a new goal. The very first one is focus on the wildly important goal. At the beginning of the year, I believe we all hear the same wildly important goal. Across the board, whether you're in the boardrooms at home or just in the grocery store, everyone has that wildly important goal of trying to lose weight. And that is very understandable to map that out and execute that. In our HIM worlds, we may have the same wildly important goals of decreasing our release of information, our coding times, our coding metrics, and our privacy compliances. So today we're only going to focus on the first one, but if you are more interested in learning a little bit more, I highly suggest reading the book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution, and they'll go into the other 3 elements, which number 2 is act on the lead measures, number 3, keep a compelling scoreboard, and number 4, create a cadence of accountability. All these things will help you get to your goal. So a couple main elements of what a WIG has to have in order for it to be considered a WIG and for you to move forward and execute your goal. It needs to have a level of measurable to it. Is it measurable? Is it specific? Is there a finish line? And is the focus only 1 to 2 goals? So for instance, in your HIM departments, if you have an overall goal that you want to go to and get within a specific timeline, it has to have these elements. So for instance, if you want to improve your department's employee engagement, a WIG would not be considered, I want my team to be happy by the end of the year. A WIG, again, would have to include all of these elements. So we would be able to use these bullet points and change that into something more specific, to something measurable. I would like my department's employee engagement score to increase by 10%. How is this specific? How will you measure this? We will measure this by checking in with the staff and taking surveys, asking questions, having one-on-ones. And then within that timeline, what is your deadline? When do you believe that your staff or your goal should be executed? Most of the times with staff, we can say by the end of the quarter. So we can wrap that up in one sentence and say, I would like my team's employee engagement scores to decrease or increase by 10% within the next quarter or end of the quarter. So again, we want to have all of those elements, because when we get away from having a measurable, specific, and finish line, all of our goals can kind of just go out of whack, and we get away from our time and we get more inundated and overwhelmed. So when you feel as though you're getting overwhelmed or your project is not moving how you would like, your deadlines, your goals, always come back to these 4 elements. Anything that is not within these scopes, you can go forward and remove and create a better plan for that. So within our WIG's execution and within the WIG's definition, it describes how we are majority of the time. Majority of the time, we all have a number of things on our plate. Some of them may be repetitive. Some of them are necessary and needed throughout the day. And because of that, we may have a tendency of focusing on those day-to-day options and objectives. But when we have a new goal that comes into place, we really should place that focus on it. So what we want to make sure that we're doing is that 20% of our activities are considered part of our WIGs. So 80% of your results will come from 20% of your activities. And we want to make sure on the day-to-day that we don't fall into that whirlwind. Some people may call the whirlwind chasing the little objectives of the day. The 9 to 5 that can be pushed off or delegated to other individuals or duties. So those are your day-to-days, which require 80% of your natural and normal time and energy. But your WIG is your new goal. That is your new objective. And when you get started on a new goal, that WIG should take about 20% of your activities to make sure that you're focusing on that and not getting away from it with your day-to-day. So with that being said, majority of your goals, we do not rise to the level of our goals, but we fall to the level of our systems. So that's meaning on our day-to-day, our week-to-week, what are we implementing to ensure that we're reaching that new goal and executing forward. So a goal is an expected result, while a system is a process and your tactics and methods that lead to these results. So again, on your day-to-day, do not get focused and consumed by the whirlwind of your day. Those are the little tasks, the things that can be reevaluated, redelegated. Those things should come second to your day or to your project or objective that you're trying to achieve. And you want to start your days off by focusing on the 20% of your new goal. And that will make sure that you're executing on a daily basis or on the timeline that you have created to achieve your goal. And once we get into the habit of making sure that we are focusing on our goal, we can move into the organizational management part. to make sure that we are always executing on that goal and having a game plan. The elements of organizational management that will help us with that WIG would be planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. We first want to start with what is your plan for your WIG? What is your goal? You may receive it from a higher power, or you may sit back and look at a scenario that you have and look and see that you may have some opportunities. You would like to see a change in the future, or you would like to strengthen a project, a resource, a group of members, whatever may be in your arena. Once you sit back and look at what are the opportunities that I like to improve, begin writing those down. That will start with your plan of writing those things down. Then you can move over into organizing them. Organize them, prioritize them, look at the resources that you do have in order to achieve them, and create a timeline to make sure that you're focusing on executing that within the time that you need. Make sure that you're leading it. This is your goal. This is what you want to see. This is a plan of the future and the vision that you would like to see a change of. Making sure that you're at the front end, that you're leading any delegation that is needed. There are times that we will receive changes that we cannot foresee. Make sure that you have a plan to alter and lead with that change as well. And lastly, controlling it, more so evaluating. Once you have implemented all of these areas, evaluate how well this is working for you. If it is working well for you, continue going forward and using the same controls. If you see a little bit more opportunities to improve the WIGs that you've already rolled out, feel free to also go ahead and control the avenue and creating more plans to keep your execution moving forward. And after we move into organizational management, time management is a great deal of consumption when it comes to WIGs. Whether it's we don't have time, we may not have the resources, it is a brand new WIG that we're starting from scratch and starting to learn what our goal is. Or we may just have that element of procrastination. Here are some elements and some tips on how we can move forward and use time management to the best of our ability to achieve our goals. Our time management is a one key to success. The elements of time management that we always want to make sure we're focusing on is reducing, prioritizing, planning, and executing. Those are always your main elements that you want to be focusing on when you're rolling out your goal. So you may ask yourself, how can I make sure that I am actually following this process? How do I know that I may be getting away from it? Usually that is what occurs. We have a goal and we roll out more and more and it gets away from us. So we have SMART goals. The term SMART will help you create a goal that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-oriented. This would be something that you can always come back to as a marker and as a benchmark. But for myself, I love the acronym Be Smarter. So again, we spoke about with the goal, you have to be specific. If you would like to lose weight, we always want to make sure how much would you like to lose, how would we like to. If you are in your HIM department, or if you are graduating and transitioning into your career field, be specific on what the vision is that you're looking for. Next, how are you going to measure this? How are you going to measure that your goal that you rolled out is actually working? What are the actions that you will be doing to move forward in this goal? How is this relatable to the overall scheme of your area or your agenda? Time bound. Always making sure you have a deadline on your goal. Making sure that you don't have a goal out there that could be generalized or generic. That always makes sure that you do not execute within a timeable measure. But the last two are newer elements that really help making sure that you're moving forward with your goal and the way that you would like to envision. Evaluate. After you've implemented all of those smarts, go back and evaluate from time to time, whether that be a month, a quarter, or a day. Evaluate how you're doing in those smart elements. After you evaluate, reward. Everyone loves a reward. So that could be after you've created your goal and you've achieved it at the end of the quarter, creating a reward for yourself. If this is a department goal, creating a reward for your team or your department. If this is something personal, whether you're going for your certification and you're just studying, and at the end of the hard work day, it is very hard to transition from work to home, then to studying as well. And you sit down at that table and you look at your book and it just seems draining. Give yourself a reward before you even start. Tell yourself, before I begin this discussion, this webinar, or this studying, after I am done with this, I will reward myself by. And once you're done, you will feel that reward, and the next day will come, and you will also pray for that sensation as well, and begin to create a habit of implementing your goals and feeling a positive aspect towards implementing that. So again, prioritize your goals wisely. It could be based on a deadline, the members you have available on your team to assist and to delegate, or the calculated impact that your goal may have. Break down your goals into achievable tasks. So determine the stepping stones you may need to reach along the way. So your goal may have 10 tasks that fall below it. Once you write them down, make sure that you're prioritizing the most important one to the least important one, and create a stepping stone around those that you can knock them out one by one, review them, and making sure that you're within the time that you have within those tasks. So again, create a timeline for each task and stick to it. Sometimes sticking to it may be the hardest aspect, especially if you are already in your career fields or if you have a number of things going on within the day. So we'll go through a couple elements of how you can focus on sticking to your goals within your WIG. First things first, work on your most important thing first. Within the first part of your day, that is what you want to do before you have any interruptions, while your brain is fresh, while you have those fresh ideas. Or you never know, you may create some questions, you may create some follow-ups along those lines. That way, if you have to reach out to other individuals, other teams, other employees, other peers, or your counterparts, you'll be able to get that out and possibly get your responses at a quicker time pace. Assigning the right people to the task will also help with your execution. When you don't bring the right people to the table, it can skew out what the agenda is, it can skew out your needs and resources, and at one point, you will have to hit the restart button and again, start the process again. So before you begin your goals, make sure that you're planning them out and having the right people at the table and assigning responsibilities accurately, as well as delegating your day-to-day tasks to a different individual resource that can help you focus on your new goals. Be fully engaged with the tasks that are in front of you. So if you're working on your goal and you set out a timeline to create these goals, turn off your phone, close your door, or create an environment where you can create full focus. What you don't want to do is get this time in front of you to focus on this goal and realize at the end of this, you have created and executed 5 things, but they're not your actual goal. This will occur and have repetition downfalls of creating the same aspect. And we all may have it, whether it may be you get that email alert, that's a ding, and you're like, ooh, what's this? I may have to take care of it. Whether it is you have an employee that may have a question, or it may just be you trying to maneuver throughout your day. Make sure that that time that you put in place is for you and that task. So if you have to tell the other individuals around you in advance, this is my time for this, and I'll be able to assist you on the back end. Or if you have at your personal house, things of that nature, ensuring your loved ones is aware of this time that you need for yourself can also help you focus on your goals and tasks at hand. And try to make this a regular schedule, a regular set time within the day or within your week. And this will help you boost your productivity. Learn to say no. It may be one of the hardest things to do past time management, past procrastination, but saying no will actually help you in your execution. We are only one individual, one group, one team. There's only so much that one person can handle, one project that can handle. Make sure that what you're accepting is aligning with your new goals. Anything that is deviating from that, find a different alternative to take care of that or at a different time. Learning to say no will create a positive aspect when you're able to see all of the elements that you have executed. Don't sweat the small stuff. Try not to get upset or stressed about minor issues. Usually that is what occurs. We get a curveball or we get a change that is given to us out of nowhere, and we have to be flexible. But those times where we fixate on them and focus on them are the times that we can be fixating and focusing on a method and a plan to focus and correct our situations, our opportunities, and continue executing. Whenever you get a curveball and you feel that stress or that level of momentum, take a moment to step back and take a breather. Take the time that you need and get back to that. It is always great to have an accountability structure or an accountability partner. If you do have that, go ahead and tell that person that I may need to step away. Stepping away can say, I'm going to take 30 minutes away from this project. I'm going to take a day off or so forth, but I have a deadline and I plan to get back to it by this set time. And informing that accountability structure or person, that allows you to make sure that you get back to it, but also take the time that you need to recharge. All right, so now as we wrap it up into the juicy part, productivity tips. A couple tips that you may find helpful within your career or your day-to-day with focusing or just helping you execute your goals. Again, start with your most important task in the morning. From there, create a planning day throughout your week. Mine's is Sunday. On Sunday, I create a planning day to overview what pending items I have to work on, what elements and calendar meetings I'll have going forward, and what I would like the week to see. I would like my week to see. From there, my week is mapped out and planned for the entire week versus trying to do it day by day where we get more things thrown on us. After that week is planned out, I print out the calendar so that I can see all elements throughout the week. So I am not blindsided and that I have every moment that I've planned for my goals. Also, in connection with that, at the end of the day, you can try the Ivy League method. What that is at the end of your day, map out 6 tasks that you would like to complete tomorrow. No more than 6 tasks. And these again are the items you would like to complete tomorrow. That way, you know what you need to work on at the end of the day and know what you're going into at the beginning of the day. And for me, what I do is, although I print out the calendar for the week, I also print it out daily. And when I print out that daily calendar, I write down the 6 tasks. So not only do I have all of my elements viewable within my calendar for the day, I also have those 6 main objectives that I need to focus on for my WIGs. And I knock those out first and then easily see what I have to complete throughout the rest of the day. Another big main point that may help you with your productivity is more of a mindset. Schedule results, not tasks. So if you say, I would like to write I would like to focus on our HIM blog for 2 hours throughout the week. Alter that mindset to, I would like to create 1 HIM blog post for 2 hours throughout the week. That way you're always focusing on a goal versus an actual timeline. You'll always be seeing that goal and being able to map out and plan before you even get there what you would like to execute. And after those 2 hours and you've actually executed what you've planned out, it'll give you a boost of momentum and allow you to focus on that next WIG that you would like to knock out. A couple productivity applications that you may find helpful: the Forest app, the Focus application, Cortana Assist, and Outlook. For the Forest app gives a Pomodoro type of fill or Pareto fill. And what that helps is with you containing the information or containing what your goal is. So you may be able to set your times. So what you are able to do in the Forest app is tell the app that you would like to stay focused for a period of time. So here we have an hour. So what the app will do is use AI to give you a 60-minute timeline. If you get 60 minutes, then it will give you the allotted time for a break. For 60 minutes, it may give you a 10-minute break or 15-minute break, and you can also alter these. Every time that you stay focused for the allotted time period, you build a tree. Eventually, you will begin to build a forest as you continue staying focused. You will begin to see different types of trees as you begin to stay focused. It also even has a donation to our environment because of the forest environment. With this, you can download this into any application, your mobile, your desktop. It also allows the function to shut down any of your other applications, such as email, social media, and so forth, giving you the opportunity to only focus directly on what's needed. Within the app, it also gives you the opportunity to write down what goals and tasks that you would like to see. It will allow you to schedule these goals and tasks, gives you alerts to remind you that this is the time for you to begin, as well as you can also put hard stops to let you know this is your time and all of your other applications will now be turning off. And I found this very beneficial if you are studying for a new certification or if you're studying to get something to improve your career. It is a very good time to use this. I also use this to decrease emails to ensure that I don't take a sneak peek when I hear that tone. Also, if you are on a Windows application, you have Focus built in, or you can download these. Android also has Focus Assist built in and also can be turned on. It has a number of alerts that you can alter and specify for yourself. You can have a do not disturb time. You can also alter your do not disturb to only allow messages and alerts to come through from your most important individuals, what elements you would like to display, what elements can be shut down, It also can read your messages and a number of other elements that can help you move throughout your day. And lastly, we also have Focus. It is a very good application that you can download onto your phone for Pomodoro's and time management, where you can also build in your plans throughout the week. So if you choose to do one day that you map out your plans, you can build all of these elements into these applications that will help you throughout the week to remember and map out your goal-oriented time. A couple more tips that I find helpful, delayed responses and sticky notes. So you may find that in the evening, you may be more fresh in mind, you may have some things that you have to do within the day, or you just may have that time where you're driving and something pops throughout your mind at the most random time. And you want to make sure that you get your message across while you remember it or while it's fresh, but it may not be the most applicable time or business professional time. You can delay your messages. So just like on your Sunday, when you are planning your week, you may also plan out some delegation that you already want to have rolling out before you get back to your teammates, before you get back to your group, or before you get back to your office. Delayed responses are a great application and resource for this. In your email, you can go to your options and click delayed responses and click a time in which you want your email sent out. So if you're working on Sunday night, you can draft your email and click do not send out until Monday at 8 a.m., 10 a.m. And I found that this has helped me in a world of worlds because my memory sometimes can go into a million different places. So when I do remember, I go ahead and draft the message and delay it for a more appropriate time. Also, sticky notes. Sticky notes is a great function and application in most email operations and systems. This allows you to create sticky notes and save them in your emails or to your desktop or convert them into Words or PDFs. You can quickly type something up, save them to a to-do or a folder and pull them up when needed or necessary versus taking the time to write down paper, create files and folders while you are quickly trying to knock out some goal elements. Also, a lot of us use Excel or find that we have absolutely no clue how to use Excel except for enter and page over and up and down. So with that being said, I would behoove you to take some time and look up some Excel quick tips. There are many sheets out there and quick tables that will give you basic quick tips on how you can move through Excel and your Microsoft Office documents quicker. And these can also convert into a couple of other applications. One of the most used one is Control F, looking to find an item within a document, report, or system. So again, I do recommend looking up some Excel spreadsheets for quick tips, and they'll help you move through your PCs faster while you're moving through your goals. And after we implement all of these elements, we realize that sometimes all these items can be overwhelming when you have so many projects, so many tasks, or you get rolled out a new WIG, but not really sure how to start or where to end. There will be times where you may feel it is overwhelming or there's just some anxiety around it. So here are a few tips on how to mitigate your anxiety and your task overload. One of the very first things would be always realizing where you are in your actual goal-oriented arena. So we always have starting with our green and going to the red. So I've used this with staff and actually how to implement what is going on. Sometimes we can tell individuals on our team are not performing to the best of their ability, or something is different or off, or we can see the change. One of the best examples is when we have a new project rolling out and there is a large change. We will see a number of different reactions, a number of different moods, and they all kind of consist of all of these arenas. We have thriving. That's when you're starting good. You got your goal, you know where you want to head, you know, you have the resources and you feel confident that you're going to get there by the time you create it. You're calm, you're steady, you have minor mood fluctuations, able to take things in stride. You have consistent performance, you're able to take and provide consistent feedback. And so this is how we know our goal is in the green. But when you start to see these next set of elements, you will begin to see that you may need to review your WIG or the individuals that are helping you delegate or on your team. So surviving, this is the first example that something is changing or something is altering in how you view your WIG or the individuals on your team as helping you achieve your WIG. You go from calm to being nervous, increased mood fluctuations. Normally, when we get more changes to our WIGs, we'll see those increased mood fluctuations. We change from consistent performance to inconsistent performance. At that time, we may ask ourselves, do we fully understand our WIG? Are we fully understanding the actions that we need to take in our WIGs? Did we make our WIG as measurable or as specific as we could have? We begin to become more overwhelmed or more irritated. Usually we see this when our timeline and our WIG is not adding up. So then when we go to our next one, we cannot keep up. I can't keep this up if this continues any longer, so forth. This is a direct impact that our WIG that we mapped out is not working out to the best of our ability. We need to make sure we do a dead stop and reevaluate if we haven't already. We do not want to move into the red. At this point, we want to go back and look at our SMART goal and figure out where is our opportunity and our element of SMART. Because once we get there, or our individuals that are helping us with our SMART goals, we will see persistent fear, panic, anxiety, anger, and hopelessness. So if you're on a call, if you're being a change implementer, you'll begin to hear more questions that are pessimistic, more questions about how will this impact our future versus where we're currently at, focusing on our present. Exhaustion, that performance that started out consistent is now exhaustion, overworking. That is a direct connection to, was our goal and our WIG actually measurable? Was it realistic? Then we also have poor performance, difficulty making decisions. That difficulty in making decisions is a direct impact that possibly our plan needs to be really reevaluated. And lastly, once we move into the red, we are in crisis. We cannot survive this. We are shutting down, mayday, abort. We have disabling distress, loss of function, panic attacks, even nightmares, flashbacks, fall asleep, intrusive thoughts. So these are things outside of the goal that can circle back around and affect our goals and our WIGs. So as you are on your journey of a new goal, or as you're working with your team, try to tap in on these. So me personally, I do tap in weekly and try to see where I'm at. There's some days that at the end of the day, I can already know, I am surviving. I am in the yellow today by the end of the day. And I have a couple steps of what I do when I realize that I'm no longer in the green. Or I also roll this out to my team members who are helping me with my WIGs. So sometimes you may be able to see a change in a team member, but those individuals also may not be able to communicate or express themselves to the best of ability, whether that be they're a part of the project they do not feel comfortable with, the elements that you delegated to them, they do not fully understand. They may not be able to comfortably say that. I allow my team to use these colors and point out, hey, today I'm in the orange. Sometimes that means if you're in the orange, you may need to work by yourself on this project by yourself for today, and we'll come back as a group tomorrow. Or it may just be you're in the orange today. Is there something that you would like to discuss? Is there anything that I may be able to assist you with? And vice versa, doing the same thing to yourself. When you realize that you're in the yellow, you're in the orange, step back and look at what part of my goal is not working out, what part of my WIG is not working out, or what in my day took me away from my WIG to put me in a yellow, orange, or red. So managing your stress while you're trying to reach for your goals. Outlook mood alerts. So I implement Outlook mood alerts. I started this when I was trying to finish my MBA. I was also already full into my career, working the 9 to 5, then coming after rush hour traffic, and then saying, I'm going to sit down and study for my MBA. It was very difficult, and the transition from work to home to you actually have additional things to do was very difficult, as well as sometimes just I realized I needed to pick me up. So at the end of the day, I created mood alerts and reminders. So if your end of the day is you're off at 5, at 4:30 or 4, I would create an alert and it would pop up. The alert would either say reminder to study or reminder to work on your WIG, or it would be a mood alert, anything that alters your mood. So for me, I desperately tried to work on leaving work at work. So if I had a project to work on at home, I wanted to make sure that I was fully focused on that project and that I didn't want to take that time to catch up or just really touch on a number of elements because that would not be focusing on that WIG. So in order to break away from work before I even got home or got to that next step, I would create the mood alerts, and it could be anything that brightens your mood. So there would be certain times that in that alert, it would pop up a comedy special. Sometimes it would pop up pets, or if you have loved ones, your loved ones can pop up if you have a picture or something of that nature. Anything that alters your mood in a quicker time frame or set. I try to use those last 30 minutes of my workday while I'm working to listen to something that was, beneficial, listen to something that was helpful, or something that just got my mind away from the previous 9 to 5. Accountability partner. Making sure you have an accountability individual that can keep up with your goals, your deadlines, and your timelines. Procrastination affirmations. There are many times where procrastination just gets the best of us, whether we're busy or whether it is a task that we are not happy about. Begin to review a couple procrastination affirmations, and they'll help you remember your main goal. Automate as many redundant tasks as possible so that you're not focusing again on those 80% that we call the whirlwind, the day-to-day, where we don't want to do that. And then lastly, we want to delegate. Delegate as much as you can, whether that's delegating it to a different day that works out for you, different resources, or individuals. So lastly, we'll wrap it up with some procrastination affirmations that may help you. Done is always better than perfect. What you do today can improve all of your tomorrow. stop thinking about what can go wrong and get excited about what can go right. Nothing works unless you do. And at the end of the day, your goal will always be there for you. It is just you that has to attain it. And you will always feel better once you're able to grab and achieve that goal. All right. Any questions?
We have no questions in the chat yet.
Excellent information, Erica, and thank you so very much for sharing with us. Yeah, we're getting a couple of comments coming through, just saying how great this was. This is from Dr. Kenja Sabri. Whether you're in leadership or not, using and sharing these tips can improve productivity, and I totally agree. I absolutely love the progressive chart that you showed us, Erica, going from green all the way to red. I am so curious to know how many people in our audience have found themselves high on the right side of that chart, getting almost into the red, or maybe even into the red. I think it's also good that you share with your team. You shared with us that you have this time with your team, that you allow them to reflect on where they are, you know, and even for us to do that for ourselves, to think about, where am I right now? You know, and I think that it's so good for us to acknowledge where we are and then put some type of measures into place so that we can dial it back. If we're going toward that red, we need to do something so that we can dial it back into the green and get more control of our lives. Erica, any closing remarks or anything else that you would like to add?
Yeah, so I too like the color Maslow. It works in a number of avenues. I originally began using it for staff who I realized did not feel comfortable communicating their issues or communicating the opportunities that they saw, or, you know, a lot of my departments started very early at 5 a.m. and some people are just not morning individuals. And I really began to realize that. And so sometimes those same individuals would just be red in the morning, they get their cup of coffee, they transition into a color. But I found that it really helped with moving things along when there was a hiccup related to work. So if someone was not able to, sorry about that. So if someone was not able to address directly what is the issue in your task, I was able to say, hey, let me know, what are you feeling right now? They would begin to describe the color, and from there you can lead on. So, okay, today you're feeling orange. And this orange Maslow, what exactly you're feeling? Overwhelmed. Talk to me, why are you feeling overwhelmed? Is it your workload or so forth? But majority of the time when you give individuals the opportunity to lead, they will open up and directly provide you what the issue is, and you're able to realign. But directly, I believe personally, when we don't tap into that, we just keep working. You know, whatever's happening, the mood that we are in, whenever sadness, madness, anxiety, whether it's happy, once it hits and you allow it to keep festering, it is there. So you working while you're in a particular mood, that's just the normal thing now. And now you're working in a arena of not your best self. So once you tap in and say, hey, you know what, today or in this particular moment after this call, I don't think I'm staying in the green. I have a call or another objective in this project in 2 hours. I'm now in the orange. Let me step back and focus on what's a mood element that I can change. So that's actually also where I got the mood alerts from. The NBA, I will say, master kicking my butt. So it was really hard to transition from leaving work, first just leaving work, going through road traffic, and then finally getting home, eating, so forth. Some people may have a family and so forth, and saying, all right, well, time to get to studying and homework. And it really just became a tackle of every single day. All right, well, these things happen, I'll do it tomorrow. And it kept going. So I really just had to make sure I figured out methods of when you leave work on these set days, you leave work, leave it there. And so mentally that would be a method of how I would still be able to kind of wrap up the day, but mentally be able to wind my brain down and move it into the next arena. Or if I was studying for a particular domain, I would have the audio of that domain playing in those last 30 minutes. So I'm already listening to it and it's already something in the background for the next step.
Wow.
And then finally I would reward myself at the end of the day, usually with food, a little snack.
For sure. I always live for me, when I get kind of, I'm starting to veer into those other colors outside of green, I notice that I'm like, you know what? When I get off, I'm gonna give you some real good food. That's usually my my dial back, my mood buffer, right? I want me something real good to eat, to satisfy my belly and my emotions. But Erica, again, thank you. I don't see any particular questions in the chat. I do want to ask, how can people connect with you?
Oh, okay. I am on LinkedIn just via my name, Erica Hayes. That's probably the easiest way. I'm not a huge social media individual, but LinkedIn is the most direct method. And I love to connect and network with individuals. So please reach out, feel free to.
Perfect. And that's Erica with a K, E-R-I-K, Hayes. There is some information there in the chat from Julia Meyer. And everyone, I'm just going to take a little time here to share some information with you about the Qualified. And I thank you all so very much for being with us today. Just in case you don't know, the Qualified is an educational and employer support service that assists you in becoming certified, staying certified, and hiring certified. These particular events that you are attending today is one of our monthly Brunch and Learns. We will be having Brunch and Learn events every third Thursday of the month for 2023. And so with that, our next Brunch and Learn, it's coming up next month, April 20th at 11 a.m. So please do follow us on social media. If you're not already following us on LinkedIn, these are our handles for Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube so that you can stay connected with what we have going on at the Qualified. Everyone, I want to thank you so much again for being with us today. There is some information in the chat on the CEU certificates that will be sent out to you. So please make sure that you stay on the lookout for an email from the Qualified. And until next time, we hope that you all have a very enjoyable Thursday, an enjoyable weekend, and that you will put into practice these principles that we heard today, because this was some good information, very enriching information that can help us de-escalate a lot of stressful times and situations. So again, thank you so much, Erica, for being with us. Thank you, audience. Thank you, participants and supporters of the Qualified. We will see you hopefully, hear you hopefully, and connect with you at our next event on April 20th. Have a good day, everyone.